rookies. It's been the story all season for Kansas City. Sky Moore and Pacheco both get in the end zone.
Now, Eagles down 8, just over 5 to play. We go to the Heisman where Devontae Smith is going to walk in. No! He goes out of bounds. He gets behind the coverage, left alone. He's going out, but the Eagles are in business. Remember, they need a touchdown and a 2-point. First and goal. Jalen Hurts with his third rushing touchdown of the game, tying Terrell Davis.
Is that right?
Yeah, but they need 2, and he gets it.
Look at this. That's through 5 Chiefs.
It's incredible. He gets the 2-point conversion. Peter, that's called an octopus. You get the touchdown and the 2-point. First in Super Bowl history. And look at that. The Roseman.
We got Roseman. We got
Lurie.
Senior Lurie. We've got son Lurie. And we've got Bradley Cooper.
Yes, the star of the A-Team movie. 35-35. Oh, it was underrated.
Wet, hot American summer.
That's right. Less than 3 to play. Look at this. Here's your hot summer. Welcome to the offseason. Patrick Mahomes trying to run to another Super Bowl. And look at him, the grimace, the grit. 35 ball, 3rd and 8. Mahomes looking. It goes deep. It's incomplete. It's going to be a field goal attempt, and maybe the Eagles.
Hang on, there's a holding.
Hold on. We have a defensive holding call on James Bradberry. There was a jersey grab. There's a left hand on the back. And they are giving a first down. They give it to McKinnon, and obviously the Eagles are letting him score, and he says, no, you're not. I'm going down. This was this blinking contest at the end of the Super Bowl, and he goes down, and guys, that's it. Andy's going to take the clock down to 11 seconds. This is Harrison Butker, has been there a million times. It's a no-doubter right through the uprights, though he did miss earlier. Drills it. There was an ill-fated Hail Mary attempt, and the Chiefs are Super Bowl champs. That's all we got to say. Jalen Hurts, there's nothing you can do. Big Red wins another one. Hugs for Bieniemy. Confetti for Mahomes. There's Bradshaw. There's the entire Hunt family, and there's your score. 38-35. The Eagles lose. The Chiefs are champs. Let's go to the post-game podium. Take it away, Terry Bradshaw.
All of a sudden, your offense just started going. What was the difference?
Well, I contribute that to the offensive line, Pat Mahomes, and the rest of the offensive players. They did a great job. Eric Bieniemy was tremendous down the stretch there, putting things together, and it was just by all the coaches, both sides of the ball.
MVP quarterback Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City.
Yeah, I told y'all this week, there's nothing that's going to keep me off that football field, and I just want to shout out my teammates, man. We challenged each other. It took everybody to win this football game. So shout out my teammates, baby. We're Super Bowl champs, baby. Let's go.
Everybody had that determination, that look in their eye coming out here in that second half. They were going to pour everything out on that field, and that's what you saw. You saw everybody pour everything out on that field for the second half, and sure enough, that Chiefs came away with victory, baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
Enjoy
much.
it.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, you got to fight for your right.
The Beastie Boys have really officially become the anthem. They were playing that all night in the stadium. Peter, let's get right to it. We're going to get back to our friends in New York shortly. You picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl like you do pretty much every year. They just did. What do you think?
There is a moment in this game where Mahomes goes down with the ankle that I'm thinking we're going to get Chad Henne in the second half, and he's going to have a great deficit, and this is going to have to be one of the most heroic performances. Rihanna was awesome, but if you were a Chiefs fan, you almost couldn't enjoy it because of the pit in your stomach, whether Mahomes is going to come out of that tunnel. Mahomes came out. He went 13 of 14, threw 2 touchdowns, and then the biggest play of the Super Bowl, runs 20 yards on a high ankle sprain that he hurt earlier, and he gets the first down. This play here puts the Chiefs in position to win the Super Bowl. The amount of pain this man was in, the amount of strife that he had to overcome, it is the stuff that legends are made of. I'm blown away by Mahomes. 22 days after having a serious high ankle sprain, he finds a way to use his legs to beat the Bengals 2 weeks ago in the AFC Championship game, and then does it here. I got to speak to a lot of the Chiefs players on the field as being a part of the Fox post-game broadcast. They're all talking about Mahomes and what he did and how he overcame. Now, look, I don't know what they did at halftime, Kyle. I don't know if we want to talk about it.
What do you mean?
I'll just tell you this. The dude's the MVP. Yeah. And he's the MVP of the Super Bowl. It's the first time it's been done since 1999 when our colleague Kurt Warner did that.
Oh, that's incredible.
MVP and MVP of the Super Bowl, and he was the most valuable player when they needed it most. And yet, I'm not sure that's the story everyone's talking about this morning.
Let's do a little fan service here, and this is what I'd like to say. There was a call at the end of the game that was frustrating and annoying, and it sucks that happened. And Jamie and Sean and Jason. Jamie, what do we got?
Well, Kyle, it's a perfect tee-up because we want to just keep going a little bit more into the dangerous lament of the loser. Just to play the other side of that coin, that if you are an Eagles fan, and we appreciate the way that you unpack that, but here's what I thought about that holding penalty. It was that James Bradberry came out after the game and said, I held him. I just wish they hadn't seen it. I wanted to get away with it, but I did it. I think that was very big of him to come out in post-game to say that, to admit wrong, if you will. Less than 2 minutes ago, 3rd and 8, this ball is incomplete. If at that moment, with just under 2 to play, the Chiefs are forced to kick a field goal then, what I would have loved out of what was already turning into the most epic Super Bowl ever to be played, in my opinion, is that to watch Jalen Hurts come down. Peter has said this before in this program. We've seen Jalen Hurts. We have seen Patrick Mahomes do this. We had not seen Jalen Hurts yet at this stage do a come from behind, a drive down the field. However the scenario was going to be teed up as they had one penalty left, or one timeout left, the Eagles did. They would have had about $1.45. What were the Eagles going to do at that moment? Now, the Chiefs won out in the fact that they had excellent play clock management. They got the penalty on their side. They had a fresh set of downs. So if you're an Eagles fan, I just would say, I know you would have wanted to see your guys go into that scenario and win the game or tie the game, if that. But you didn't get that opportunity. And maybe that's where you take it away from, is that we would have loved to see it. Yeah. But the Chiefs went out and they were able to kind of steal that opportunity back. But don't be mad about the penalty because your own guy is saying that he did it.
Yeah, and what Bradberry is saying is, yes, I tugged on his jersey. And when he's saying, I hope they let it slide, is the fact of the matter is, playing defensive back in the NFL, there's little tugs, there's pulls, there's push-offs on the receivers all throughout the game. And we always would say going into a game is, let's see how they're going to call it. In that game last night, we didn't see defensive pass interference holdings. It was more of a let-them-play type game. So, yes, he does tug him a little bit. And I think with a lot of not only Eagles fans, but a lot of people that was just watching the game last night, that was just enjoying a good football game, you don't want to see the game ended on that penalty. And to James Bradberry's point is a tug no matter when it happens in the game. But you guys know I'm a big believer in the very end of the game. I want to see somebody go out there and win the game and take it away. You hate to see it end on a penalty, but like he said, he did grab him. But beyond the penalty, to me, it was the way Andy Reid and these Kansas City Chiefs adjusted in the second half. And they came out strong from the start of handing the ball off to Pop Pacheco. He kind of set the tone in the second half, being able to go out there, had about 50 of his 76 yards in the second half and scored a touchdown. And I think they went into halftime and was just like, you know what, we're running the ball well. We just haven't been able to possess it long enough in the first half. And then we saw these plays that Reid drew up and came with in the second half. A very easy touchdown to Kadarius Toney, then Sky Moore on the other side. And let's not forget, in the first half, the touchdown to Travis Kelce came with a short motion and then a double move off of that. So you can tell Kansas City went into this game strategically on offense, saying, hey, we can double move these guys, we can confuse them where their eyes are going and be able to do things secondary to be able to get behind them and make plays. And they did that in the first half a little bit, but definitely made a point of it in the second half.
Yeah, I'm glad you addressed that penalty and that hold and that tug. And listen, that's why you run that double move like that, because that can happen. And if he hadn't restricted him, it could have been a touchdown anyway. So it's a moot point. Listen, for Eagles fans, unbelievable season. Jalen Hurts had an unbelievable game. He showed up. He played phenomenal. I don't know that Jalen could have played any better, with the exception of that fumble with Nick Fulton. But I think you have to give credit to the Chiefs for the way they turned it around at halftime. This was the tale of two halves. The first half was all Eagles. They were full throttle. But I think for the Chiefs, they felt slighted all week long, for the last 2 weeks, really. Because if you're an Eagles fan and you're upset about that play call, you should be upset about your defense. Because the #1 ranked passing defense did not show up in the second half. Where were all the sacks? Where were all the quarterback hits? We talked at length about this offensive line of the Chiefs not being able to hold up against this pass rush, and yet they basically equalized them. There was not one sack in this game, and I feel like the Chiefs felt slighted in this game the entire weeks leading up to it. And here's how you know how players feel. After the game, what are they saying? Let's listen to Travis Kelce and what he had to say after he won this Super Bowl alongside his Chiefs.
I know you're emotional. Man, one of y'all said the Chiefs were going to take it home this year. Not a single one. Feel it? And on top of that, next time the Chiefs say something, put some respect on our name.
Oh, Travis Kelce peeling back the curtain a little bit on what they've been talking about in the locker room and in the meeting rooms behind closed doors. Nobody thought they could win the game. That was their motivation. That was the push. He's standing next to the NFL's MVP, their Jordan, if you will. I know Nick Sirianni thinks Jalen is, but That is exactly what and what fueled this team. The motivation all week long we had to hear about this defense. They're so good. How are we going to stop them? How are we going to win? And for the Chiefs, that was their motivation. I think Kelsey standing next to Mahomes, like, this is the baddest man on the planet right here.